The Iowa legislature passed House File 718 and Senate File 2442, promising to cut property taxes for constituents. Local governments are finding that the blanket approach impacts all of Iowa's 99 counties differently. I spoke to Southeast Iowa officials about how they're preparing as the consequences of this reform start to unfold. Iowa lawmakers passed property tax reform in 2023 and 2024, capping rates at $3.50 for counties and $8.10 for cities. While tax cuts are popular, many cities and counties are now facing tough financial challenges. Lucas Binkin, a public policy specialist with the Iowa Association of Counties, or ISAC, says about a third of counties, including those in Southeast Iowa, were already over the cap before the legislation passed, and others believed they could reduce their rates with property valuation growth. But as Binkin explains,
if you have valuation over certain thresholds, your levy rate is driven down. So as I said, we know this is a multi-year process. We're starting to see some of those unintended consequences. We're starting to see that the one-size-fits-all does not fit.
In Ottumwa, Finance Director Cole O'Donnell says that taxable growth was limited to just 7.77%, limiting the city's ability to capture more revenue. Under the reform, the city faces a $450,000 loss in fiscal year 2024 after eliminating 3 levies while still needing to provide the same services. Rural counties like Van Buren are also feeling the pinch. Van Buren County Supervisor Dale House says they've had to make tough decisions, leasing county land, freezing raises, and making other adjustments to stay within budget. At a recent ISAC conference, House spoke out about the struggles of many rural counties.
Come to find out at that point that we weren't alone, and found out that there were a lot of other counties that wondered if they were alone.
House says they've worked hard to keep property taxes low for their residents, but now find themselves financially stretched.
We didn't build up a big nest egg or whatever you want to call it. By doing that, it kind of bit us.
To address these challenges, ISAC has outlined 3 legislative priorities. First, they call for funding or fees for state-required services to match the actual cost of providing those services. Second, a need for equity and accountability in the cost-sharing arrangement between the state and counties. And third, the option to explore revenue replacement or sharing to protect essential services. But some local officials, like O'Donnell, feel their concerns are being ignored. He says that one local representative has been responsive, but, quote, as far as the leadership in the legislature, they are dismissive of our concerns, end quote. He added he feels there are indications that leadership may introduce legislation to further limit property tax collections. As local governments try to balance tax cuts with shrinking resources, all eyes are on the state legislature for potential fixes.